It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I figured I'd go into the play-in tournament. We got that starting up tomorrow, so figured we'd run through the whole. I'm going to cover them all. Uh, I'll be doing a playoff one as well. It's not going to change really much. There might be a matchup or two that's different based off of how the play-in goes. But I'd rather have a complete assessment of where we're at for the playoffs before I do it. I already have a couple playoff ones out, so of course I did them in the past, so not every team that I had made the playoffs, but pretty close. And I still believe in a few matchups. There's some that I've come to the realization we're probably not going to get. Like my theory of Doc playing all of his, or at least all of the East super teams, doesn't look like it's going to happen. For the Celtics to match up with the Bucks and for the Sixers to match up with the Bucks would be tough because the Sixers are going to have one of the worst seeds, as you can see, meaning they're going to instantly draw the Celtics, meaning they'd have to beat the Celtics to play the Sixers, and if they beat the Celtics, the Sixers, I'm sorry, they'd have to beat the Celtics to play the Bucks, and I don't think that the Sixers are going to beat the Celtics. And really, the big matchup is, in my opinion, is Doc versus the Celtics, right? Because that's where they traded Drew Holiday. So anyway, doesn't look like we're gonna get Sixers, Bucks. So I thought we would get him playing both of his former teams. It could happen, but it would take a weird. Like I said, actually, I don't think it can happen because again, the Sixers, I'm pretty sure, would have to beat the Celtics and knock them out. So it would be really tough. But anyway, for this weekend, I do like the Pelicans to win. I like the Pelicans because I've said for a while, I feel like we're going to get a Warriors versus Lakers plan. And I think it was Marco pointed out that we can get that in the second round. Because I had said, like, I swear they're going to be the plan. And he said if the Lakers lose I think he said the Lakers lose the first game. And I thought about it, and it's true. So if the Warriors win, which I think they will because they're a 10 seed and nobody believes in them, all that yada yada, no love to the Kings at all. I thought it'd be interesting if the Kings and Lakers could match up, but there's really no way. So, because of the Anthony Davis never beating Sabonis. But again, I think the Lakers Warriors makes much more sense. So if the Lakers and Warriors won, I think it would give us like Pelicans, or it would just be the Pelicans, I believe, playing for the. I think it'd be the Warriors Pelicans, and that just doesn't seem like it'd be the Warriors Pelicans. That's not a draw. I don't think they're going to give us that. Instead, we got two good ones with the Lakers in a play-in, then you got the Warriors in a play-in, and then I think they'll meet up in the play-in. So I got the Pels winning, and I got the Warriors winning. Down here, I got the Hawks winning. The Bulls are they're done. You can just tell, with them that there's nothing going on there. And I think it's going to be the Heat, I do. The Sixers, I really believe you can kind of tell, again, when a team isn't being pushed in any way, and with Embiid, the on and off aspect of his game, the fact that the Heat made such a deep run last year, I think they definitely move on. And again, I believe that, if the Sixers were, even with this, you'll see that they'll get a round two because they're an 8th seed, so it doesn't boot them out. But I think it's going to be the Heat that win this matchup, secure in the playoffs, and then the Hawks would move on and I believe play the Sixers. So I got the Pels, I got the Warriors, I got the Heat, and I got the Hawks. And yeah, this would match up these guys. And for this, I'm going to go into it now, just because I'm pretty strong on it. I think the Warriors are going to wind up being, so if you're getting, plus odds for the Warriors to make the playoffs, because they'd have to win 2 games, I'd imagine it's going to be plus odds. I think it's a great take. I think the Lakers winning the in-season tournament, a la the Intercontinental Championship, might have been a little bit of foreshadowing. And I don't know. I just feel like the Warriors, they're treating them a lot like a couple years ago, where they said nobody believed in them, and then they ran all the way and won the finals. I don't think they're winning the finals this year, but I don't think they're going to waste a good 10 seed either. They just had the Heat go deep, so that could definitely go to the Warriors that year, this distinction of, they just got in the playoffs, they were a 10 seed, and with Draymond Green, everyone thought they were toast, and they knock off the Pels, they knock off the Lakers, and maybe go, pretty far. But I don't think they're going to go far enough. But I do think they'll beat the Lakers. I don't think LeBron's going to win his fifth I think he will get his fifth championship. He's not going to retire with the same amount of Steph. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to give LeBron one more, and I think it's going to be with his son. I don't know why I keep thinking they're going to go to Atlanta. It's like, if you look at the betting odds on where Bronny James is going to go, it's all the best teams. So that's how you know it's scripted. Like, because it should be completely random where the guy's going, and obviously you can't go by the logic of the team with the highest draft pick because the guy shouldn't even be a draft pick. But he'll be probably an early second rounder, I would say, maybe a mid second rounder, and it has to be a team like, it can't be a team like the Thunder who's already got like a guard and a forward that are their future guard and forward. Can't be a team like the Knicks where you already got Brunson. It's got to be a team where you can bring in, he probably wouldn't start, but a guy that's going to be their, leading guard / forward, whatever he's going to play. And obviously where LeBron could fit in too. So I've been trying to go through the teams. Chicago would make some sense, but I think because of Jordan's legacy, they wouldn't do that. Atlanta, I just think it's an interesting one. He could return to the Heat. They're kind of betting favorites, them and the Cavaliers. But I think they might do something with LeBron where, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kareem might have done it, but he would be like the first player to win with 4 different franchises. So that's why I have a feeling he might go to a team like the Hawks. Or, I thought about, like I said, the Bulls, but I think because of Jordan, that wouldn't make sense. Cavs would make sense, because you could play with Mitchell there, LeBron and Mitchell, and then by a year or two go by, they could try and make Bronny the face. But anyway, we can go into that another time. Hawks, Sixers, again, both these teams I don't see them doing too much with, but the Hawks just are not a draw. They have made that abundantly clear. I think Trey gets traded pretty soon, if I'm being honest, unless they do the Dame deal where he just perpetually gets really nothing done. But when he's playing, he gets pretty good numbers, and they're really not going to do anything. But I think they're going to make some moves. I just don't think they're going to. They just changed their coach. Usually when that happens, they'll typically improve. I don't think they're going to. They love Sean Quinn, so he must be a pretty entertaining guy. But anyway, this is what we'd be looking at. Philly, Boston, Orlando, Cleveland, Pacers, Bucks, and most of these are already locked. Knicks, Heat, and again, if we didn't get Knicks, Heat, we get Knicks, Sixers. I think we're going to get Knicks, Heat. And then on the other end, you get Pelicans, Denver, Phoenix, Minnesota, Clippers, Dallas, and Golden State, Oklahoma City. And again, it's an interesting one as far as you see Oklahoma City is the first seed. Now, I'm just going to go through this. Why not? I was going to wait and do it. But like I said, the seeding, I did this way last year, so I'll do it the same way this year. If a team that I have winning the play-in doesn't, proceed, then of course I could do a video doing a reassessment of it. But again, none of the teams that in my opinion, from the play-in are going to go that far at all anyway. So I'd probably have them getting booted pretty quickly. So not too much would change, even if, say, the Hawks upset the Sixers, or it's the Lakers and not the Warriors. But I could still go into it if you guys want. But anyway, I wanted to cover the play-in part so you guys know who I have and basically why. And for this, I'm going to go through all these. So Warriors, Thunder. I think this one, again, the Warriors getting a deep run would be interesting because they're really planting the seeds that they're cooked. They're not the same team. It's the end of an era. And I think it is. I think it is the end of an era. I think it's going to be the Thunder. I'll give it to them in 6. And there's a giant reason. You guys should see it. If you're looking at these matchups, you guys should see right off the bat why Oklahoma City makes the most sense. So Thunder or Warriors get into the playoffs. Don't make a deep run, but they get in there as a 10 seed and give the Thunder a hard time. Something like that. And then they might talk about trading Clay, one of these guys. Dallas, Clippers. This is by far the hardest take because they're the only two teams that I think make any sense out of the West to win. The Dallas theory is mostly, and this is why I'm not going with it, because every time I go with this kind of theory, it doesn't work. But I found it very interesting that the colors, I thought at least, if you look at the Israeli flag and you look at the Hamas flag, one's blue and white and the other's like a green, black, white deal. So I thought that's pretty interesting. We could get that if we get a blue and white team. And Marco also pointed out that he said the Thunder kind of have like a lighter shade of blue, even closer to Israel's flag. So there's a few teams. I mean, the Clippers also have blue. I'm mostly looking at, or even the Wolves, but I'm mostly looking at it just the logo, the flag. The Mavs are solely blue and white, and I found it interesting. And they have Kyrie, with all the quote anti-Semitism rhetoric, whatever you want to call it. So I thought that was interesting. But again, I look at the Vegas odds, and Dallas is getting, in my opinion, way too favorable of odds. So this one's going to 7, in my opinion. I really think it is. And we'll put it like this. I don't know which way it's going to break, but I think the Clippers are going to move on. They're getting a new stadium. They really pushed how George, Kawhi, Russ, Harden, they're a unit that really can't be stopped. And then they didn't really talk about the last couple weeks. All we've been hearing about is how, Jokic is unstoppable, like always. How we've been hearing about how the Warriors and Lakers have been on a run. We've been hearing about like LeBron, how nobody's doing what he's doing at this age. How Kyrie and Luka are the best tandem ever. So all these different narratives, and the Clippers are kind of quiet. They're the perfect team to fly under the radar despite being one of the odds-on favorites, which is why I love the Clippers. They're getting a new stadium next year. Makes perfect sense. Now, this one's pretty simple. I think the boring team doesn't advance. I think we can all agree. If you have the opportunity to have a mega draw or a boring team, it'll go to the boring team. And I think the boring team's going to get out to a nice 2-0 lead, look really good, and the Suns are going to have to work for it. And a lot of people talk about this could be the redemption year for Kevin Durant. Prove he's needed. Maybe they fall down 3-1, which I'm going to do. I'm going to have them drop 3-1, and they're going to come back and win. So I think it's going to be another. They're going to have a lot of close. I think a lot of our games are going to go to 6-7, but I gotta have the Suns have to win because, as you can see, they are unless you think I have the Pelicans winning, which you probably know by now. The Thunder are going to match up with the lowest seed, and how convenient would it be if all this time later KD gets to match up with the Thunder? So anyway, for this one, it's pretty obvious, and I don't think it's going to be that competitive. I really don't. I think Denver is going to be booked as an absolute powerhouse, and you know what? I think they're going to have a sweep to open the tournament. I think they are. I think it makes sense. The Pelicans are a feisty bunch, so I could see them giving them a little bit of a push, like they did it a couple years ago against the Suns. The Suns had a 60-win year, and the Pelicans took them to 6-7 games. So I could see it, but I think you got to have a sweep or two, and this one makes perfect sense. Now on this side we got Philly Boston, and honestly, they have Boston positioned in an interesting way because they have the best record far and away, but at the same time, like, in my opinion, they have one of the belief from the fans or just the people that watch whatever for a 62-win team has never been lower. So usually when a team gets 60 wins, a lot of the people are like, oh yeah, this time it's different. With the Celtics, people are just all saying, it's the Celtics being the Celtics, they're gonna blow it again, and I don't think they're gonna do that. They got Porzingis, they brought in Drew Holiday, they brought in championship kind of players. Whereas again, Milwaukee got Doc Rivers, got Dame, and the fan base thinks Doc Rivers sucks, so that's not a great example. But again, the Celtics made the quieter championship moves in my opinion, whereas the Bucks, the other threats haven't. So you got Sixers, Celtics here. Both would be interesting to play Doc, and I could see possibly the Sixers making it interesting, but they made a point of having Embiid get hurt again. So I think Boston's going to put him away. I think it'll be relatively competitive. but nothing too crazy. Maybe Boston in 5, 6. I'll give it to Boston in 5. Orlando, Cleveland. This one, I don't think it's that exciting personally, but some people might, really like it. It just depends on, I guess. I don't think many of them are exciting. I kind of look more for rivalries, old players playing each other, that kind of stuff. So anyway, here, I do think of these two teams. I also try and look at like quote underdogs. So even though the Magic have their records are not that far apart, a lot of people I think of all these teams like nobody's looking at the Knicks like underdogs. Even though I keep saying they give me Detroit Lion vibes, where they're going to out. I said this all year. They're going to outperform what people expect. Same with the Pacers. I think the Magic are kind of like an X Factor team, and it's been a little bit for them. So Cleveland, they just seem like they're there. They don't really seem like they're. It's almost like they're waiting to trade somebody. Like I had that feeling all year with them. I said it about teams that really suck, like the Raptors, the Nets, the Bulls, the Hawks, and I put Cavs in that category. So for that reason, I do think that the Magic are going to advance. I think it'll be a close series. I'll give them 6 games. I think the Magic will advance here. Give the fan base something, and I don't think they made them a good team this year for no reason. So they get an upset on the Cavs. It'd be like the one true upset. And again, like the Suns are playing the first seed Thunder, so you might call that a bigger upset. But just because of the player dynamic, I think people wouldn't see it as much. Whereas the Cavs, you got Donovan Mitchell, and that's enough. I mean, the guy's a top, you can argue, top 10, 15 player. Magic, you have a hard argument for anyone in the top 50 on that team. So I guess Banchero, outside of him, though. So that's another reason. I think Banchero gets some love. Well, he paid some dues last year, and now this year I feel like he's going to get a little bit of a reward. So maybe he has some clutch playoff games, and they start talking about Banchero, like, oh, is he in club superstar? So anyway, Pacers, Bucks now, and I think a lot of people are going to have the Pacers getting the upset here. I personally don't. I think it's more exciting if the Bucks win, but I do think that they're going to have the Pacers play this very tight. Now, it can go a lot of different ways. I think for Doc, now it doesn't have to be this series. It could be any series. But I thought this was going to happen last. I think we predicted it, actually, because I did have the Sixers going all the way. And I said, I think Doc's going to be like down 3-1 and come back or something like that. And I think the opposite happened. I think he was up. Wasn't he up on the Celtics at home? And then he blew it or something like that. So I think he's going to be up possibly on the Pacers. Maybe like, 3-1. And then the Pacers start coming back, and it's like, oh no, Doc being Doc, but the Bucks get it done. I think it's definitely going to be teased, something like that. So I think the Bucks advance, but definitely not easily. And this one's a hard pick, honestly, because we have a team where you have the playoff Jimmy narrative. You can always see the Heat making that run, and then the Knicks, the way they're being built this year is just different. And I don't think you would have, you see the difference with Brunson. You see just these guys, whether it's DiVincenzo or Hartenstein or Hart, just playing like a team possessed, in my opinion. Again, it's a lot like the Lions. So I think the Knicks Heat is going to be a close one to call, but I do have the Knicks advancing. And I'll do it in 6 games. I think that makes sense. So you can see that will give us Bucks Knicks, which is a really interesting one, I think. And then we get Celtics Magic. And we get Suns, Denver, and Thunder, Clippers. I'm not sure why the Thunder draw the Clippers here as the 1 seed. I don't know if this is not correct or if it's... I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can let me know. I don't know why. Maybe it's just like the way they do the brackets, but I'm pretty sure the higher seeds should draw the lower seeds. So I don't know why the Clippers would draw the Thunder. This is kind of weird. But anyway, in this eventuality, and I guess it is because I don't know why their playoff simulator would be messed up. Again, you guys know I have the Clippers. I find, again, Clippers-Suns would be such an interesting matchup too, but I think this should be reversed. Like, am I wrong? Shouldn't it be Denver Clippers and Thunder Suns? Either way, I have the same 2 teams winning, which makes sense. But again, this is kind of why I thought that, if I waited for the playoffs, but it's not going to change, I guess, because the play-in teams are already eliminated. So yeah, I'm not sure why with this simulator the Thunder is not drawing the Suns. It's weird. They should be. But anyway, Thunder's Clippers. This one I think is going 7 games for sure. And you have to remember that it's not just Kevin Durant. The other two guys that played on the Thunder will be in this matchup if we get Clippers Thunder, which again doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand this. But anyway, you got Harden and you got Russ. So that's an interesting dynamic. I think this one will be a close one. I think at the end of the day the Clippers will get it done though. I think they'll got a couple road wins. I don't know how it's going to break. For the individual games, I'm going to have to see day by day what the line is. If it's fishy, then we might know something. But I think the Clippers are going to get it done and move on. And then we got Suns, Nuggets. And here's where, I think the Denver story comes to it. I don't think anybody's going to be betting against Denver, just in the second round after how good they've looked last year and all of this year. And the Suns have been shaky. So I think Denver probably does get at home. So do the Suns. Maybe the Suns steal one. Maybe Denver steals one. Hold on. Suns steal one, Denver steal one. And then maybe the Suns steal another one. So I think the Suns would advance between them and Denver. And that would give us Suns Clippers, obviously. And like I said, it should have been flipped. Which, either way, I still kind of have the same result. But I feel like it should be Suns Thunder. And I would still have the Suns beating the Thunder. And Oklahoma City, Denver. I don't know why, again, the seeding is this way. But either way, like I had said before, I have the same result no matter what. I think whether it's the Suns that play the Thunder or the Clippers, that team will win. And we're going to get Clippers-Suns. I think that's a really good matchup. And I know a lot of people have Dallas. I know a lot of people have the Lakers. So for me, it's just the Clippers and the Mavs make the most sense. That's why I said for the first round, the Clippers-Mavs, that's one of the hardest to call. But I think, again, the Mavs' odds are way too appealing. They have to be the biggest Vegas liability. Then we got Celtics, Magic. And again, I don't think the Celtics are going to run through this. They're going to look shaky, I think, the whole way. Maybe not as shaky as the Bucks, but I think they're going to look pretty shaky. So I think it'll be something like this, and maybe Boston takes it in 6. Nothing too exciting. And then we got the Bucks, Knicks, and again, I think Doc will be tested. And again, the Knicks going to the the Eastern Conference Finals makes a lot of sense. It really does. To have to go through the Bucks and then play the Celtics, the way they're being positioned this year, I could definitely see it. And they're talking about getting Randall back, but honestly, then they're talking about how they play better without him. But with all that being said, I still think Milwaukee gets it done. We'll give it 7 games. I think Milwaukee gets it done in 7 games. Maybe this is the one where they blow a 3-1 lead, and it's like, oh, is Doc going to blow it again? But the Knicks, it's going to be feisty. There's no way it's going to be a catwalk, in my opinion. So then we got Bucks Celtics. We called this at the beginning of the year. I think it's what we're getting. Just the most scripted grudge match of all time, where you got Dame playing the old team, Drew playing the old team, or not Dame playing the old team, I'm sorry. Drew playing the old team because of the Dame trade, and then obviously Doc playing the team he took to the finals. It's 24, don't forget. They played the Lakers in the finals, so I did think about that. They're talking a lot about Kobe out of nowhere, partially because it's 24, but a lot of Kobe talk coming out of nowhere. So he's the team. When I think of Boston winning that finals, I think of Kobe. I think a lot of people do. Jason Tatum, talking about him being the new Kobe. All these different kind of narratives. So Celtics, Bucks, Doc playing his old team would be interesting. And that's why, again, this one's difficult because we got Clippers, Suns here, and here's another interesting one because you have Durant playing his old guys, which is very, Harden, Durant, and Russ obviously have gone very far before and obviously didn't get it done. So it's like Durant did, but I mean together, and Durant's was kind of, again, has the asterisk next to it. But Clippers, Suns, a lot of people think it's going to be the Suns because they think Durant's going to get that ring so he can establish himself. And to that I say, you got guys like Carmelo Anthony, Allen Iverson, they never got one ring, So the fact, KD got a ring, he got paid well. Not everybody's going to have that legacy where they get multiple rings. So I don't I just think KD is one of those guys who's just going to always be around, but he doesn't have to win anymore, and I don't think he's going to. I think it's going to go to the Clippers. It'll be, again, a scripted WWE like matchup, so I think it's going to go at least 6, probably 7. We'll go Suns 3-2, and then I think Clippers get it done. And the reason this becomes more interesting is because Doc playing the Clippers after playing the Celtics would be really, really long-term storytelling. And I could see them maybe doing it. But the Celtics, they've been our pick from the beginning of the year. And I just noticed the Celtics are green also, or the Bucks are green also. But like I said, that was my Dallas theory. But I just think that it's time for the Celtics. I do. I don't think they would have him have this good of a year and then pull the rug again. I think they've been banging on the door. And it's kind of like the Niners theory. And it's a little, hopefully it goes a little bit different because obviously we had the Niners winning it. But we knew that they were going to get back to the Super Bowl, or get to the Super Bowl. Yeah, and they did get back there after playing the Chiefs there not too long ago. So I think the Celtics are finally going to get in there. They've been very quiet about Tatum, and I think it's on purpose. It just seems like they're giving all these other guys love, but they're being quiet about Tatum, and I think it's because he's going to get his ring. That's just what makes sense to me, or at least gets to the finals. So anyway, again, Bucks probably take a lead. I'll say 2-1. Celtics tie it up, maybe then 3-2, and then the Celtics win the next 2. And everyone can say Doc, the worst coach ever. It's so funny. This is the exact opposite of my last year prediction. Beginning of year last year, I called it Doc's redemption. I thought, okay, it's been a little bit. He's been a laughing stock for a while. He's on a Sixers team that's kind of flying under the radar. And I thought for sure it was going to be the Doc redemption tour. And of course, he lost in like the second round. And that's when we went with the Heat. And again, even at that point, not a lot of people had the Heat. So still not, the easiest call. But our preseason pick was Doc's redemption. At this point, I think it's just a running joke that Doc ruins everywhere he goes. I don't see him going there and just winning. With everything that's been shown, you have people more than ever questioning just how bad some of these teams look. And I think a team that has a coach that's been there, Missoula, they're at least perceived as a well-coached team. They play more team defense. They play more fundamentally sound, like the Nuggets, like, the teams that I think the NBA wants to show as the cohesive ones. I just don't think the Bucks are going to win under Doc. I think they'll probably wind up getting rid of him at the end of the year. They got rid of a coach with a winning record, and he was doing pretty good. So, to me, it's just a great story. They can talk all season long about why the heck would they get Doc when they were doing so well. Maybe Giannis gets mad, someone requests a trade. So there's probably going to be a lot of drama, but I do think the Celtics will be the ones to advance, which of course gives us Boston versus the Clippers. And this, again, not much has changed. I've had Boston all year long. And on the West side, very beginning of the year, I did have the Lakers, but the second I found out about the in-season tournament, I said, well, whoever wins that thing's not winning they're not going to the finals. So once the Lakers won, that's another reason I think the Pacers might get booted early. They got the in-season tournament, they got there at least. So I think it would make some sense that they got enough love. So yeah, Clippers, Boston. Both teams make sense, to be honest. The only reason I think Boston makes more sense is because they've been there, and I don't think they're going to have Tatum get there again and not get it done. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it for Harden, for Westbrook. You could say, no, they're going to win, get their flowers. But I think getting there and not winning makes more sense. They're getting a new stadium, so you want to have morale high. But if you just won a ring, believe it or not, fans are less likely to be that enthusiastic about next year because it's like, okay, we just won, So if they lose now, the fans are going to want to see them get back there in their new stadium. So I think Boston's going to wind up taking this, and it'll probably go pretty far. I'll say probably 6 games. A lot of the finals, I think people expect to go 7 games, and I know the last 2 years was it 6 games and 5 games. So I think it's going at least 6 games, and it might go to 7 games, but I'll say 6. We'll go Boston Clippers, and then we'll say Boston wins the next 2. So this is what it looks like. I got Boston winning. And yeah, this still makes no sense to me, these brackets. Maybe somebody can explain to me. But again, Clippers, Thunder, Suns, Nuggets. I thought it'd be flipped and the Thunder would be playing the Suns. But either way, I have the Clippers and Suns advancing where they meet up. The old squad meets up. And then Celtics, Bucks, where we have Drew Holiday getting redemption on his old team. And then Drew Holiday helps lead the Celtics to a ring. So yeah, this is what I think we'll get. I figured I would just cover the whole thing while I was in here. And if there's a minor change, like I said, the teams that I have advancing for the most part aren't going to be affected if, say, the Lakers win instead of the Warriors. You see, I have them getting booted immediately anyway. But I can do another video just to kind of go into it if, just say, my brackets wind up being like way off by the time we get to the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, there's only so much that can change, but this is basically what I've been seeing anyway. The matchups I really liked were Bucks Knicks is one I'd like, to be quite honest. But then you get the Celtics Bucks. Nuggets Suns is a really good one, I think. I think it's a rematch too, isn't it? And then I know a lot of people are thinking Lakers would get the spot that I have the Suns in, and they might, but I think it'll be the Suns. And then Thunder, Clippers again. We have Harden and Westbrook who played on the Thunder, and then Harden and Westbrook who played with Durant would play each other. So I think it's a nice matchup. I think it'll be a high draw, and I think it lines up for a lot of different reasons. And the way they have the Celtics, they're getting pretty short odds still. So, if they're getting the lowest odds to win the whole thing, and people are looking at them, oh, they just lost they got pounded by the Knicks. They lost to the Hawks twice. It's like toward the end of the year, people are saying, yep, they're preparing for the playoffs early, because in the playoffs they always choke. And I think that's what they want people to believe. So I think the Nuggets are going to be the one who choke. Maybe there's an injury, quote, injury to Gordon, maybe Murray, one of their important guys. Maybe even Jokic, you never know. And yeah, I think the Suns wind up advancing. And Suns Clippers will be interesting if that's what we get. And then yeah, I got Clippers, Celtics, and Celtics winning it. So I'm curious what you guys think. And like I said, if you have a different theory, let me know. I always like to see what other people have. I've been busy, like I said, been trying to get a lot of stuff done, but I'll have more time going forward. I also thought it'd be fun to do a live video so we can cover one of the playoff games. I think Dallas Clippers is probably going to be the most interesting. If we wind up getting Lakers, Warriors, we can do live for that one too. That's only going to be in a couple days, I would imagine. So you guys can let me know maybe which one you'd rather go live for. And yeah, let me know if you see any different types of matchups or a team going further, maybe that I'm, disrespecting, maybe like the Sixers or the Cavs. This is just what I think we get. I think the East, the most important thing we get is Celtics, Bucks, and the Knicks at least getting out of the first round. Just because, again, I think the Knicks, the way Brunson's being pushed, I think it makes sense. And then on this side, I think it's, really the story with the Clippers and Kevin Durant. So I think the Clippers will get that done. So yeah, I'm curious what you guys think, and like I said, I'll have more videos out, but I figured why not just cover the entire playoffs if I'm going to do the play-in. Not much to change. I'd be shocked if like the Pelicans won and we didn't get Warriors or Lakers, or if we got, I guess not shocked, but I'd be pretty surprised. Or if we got, the Bulls, who just make no sense at all. I feel like they're just such a boring team. And for a second, I thought we might get like Hawks Celtics because they kind of teased it. The Hawks beat the Celtics twice. So we still might get that. But I think if you have a chance to put the Heat in there and the Sixers, you have to. Unless they're going to shut down Embiid, in which case you see how I have the Sixers here playing the Celtics. It could very well be Celtics-Hawks, which might be more interesting. And again, that's why I said it doesn't make much of a difference because I have the Celtics winning pretty decisively anyway. So I don't think it's going to be, even if it is the Hawks in the place of the Sixers, you guys kind of know what I have happening anyway. So yeah, take care and happy earnings.